Welcome, everyone, and we are going to start the shortlist with one of my favorite tools of all time, Snorkel. And I used to be a person who talked a lot about Flipgrid. I talked a lot about Book Creator. I still love Book Creator, but Flipgrid is gone. And if you ever saw me present, you just wouldn't see me not talk about Flipgrid. And that is the place that Snorkel is now garnering garnering in my presentations, because what I see happening at schools with Snorkel is indescribable, quite frankly. It's really something where teachers are taking this product and using it. And I haven't always seen that when I have done training. Some teachers gravitate towards this and some teachers gravitate towards something else. And this is just a tool that teachers want to use. So I'm going to get started because we don't want to spend a lot of time in here with me talking about it. And I want to show it to you, but I want to introduce John Levine. Did I say it right? I said it wrong now after that. Levine. I asked him, and it's my dyslexia that doesn't hold the sounds. But anyway, and he is from Minnesota and one of the co-founders of Snorkel. And John John, do you just want to say something about yourself? But I love that you're a science teacher because we're going to talk science.
A math teacher.
Yeah, I'm all wrong.
I brought my Snorkel too. Yeah, I'm super excited to get to share more of Snorkel with folks. I was a high school math teacher for 10 years. My co-founder, Jeff, was a 5th grade teacher. And so we both come from the classroom and have a lot of fun getting to share Snorkel with students and with teachers, and excited to share more with folks today.
And I want to say, so was Jeff a science teacher? Where am I getting this?
Jeff was a 5th grade teacher. Monique, our teammate, was also a previous math and science teacher. We got a lot of former teachers on our team.
Okay. Yeah. And they're a very small team. So when you ask them about something, you get, instant responses. And what I love about this is a team of teachers. And this is not a big company trying to be like tech bros. Let's get this, that kind of thing that people are talking about. This is a small company. I beg them every day to get bigger. They can tell you that. I send messages all the time. Stop. I need you in every kid's hands. But they want to grow intentionally and they want to do this intentionally. So let's get started. So I'm not just talking about it. I'm going to take you into, and I should have probably got this on. I'm in a hotel room right now trying to get light from a window. So I don't know how good I'm going to be at this. But John, can you see the Snorkel screen right now?
I can, yep.
Okay.
It's a little zoomed in, but yeah.
Yeah, it is, because I was doing some responses with kids, but there we go. That'll get us to where we need. So Snorkel, to get to it, if you want to kind of follow along at all, you would go to snorkel.app. And there's no EL, it's just KL, so you can see that on the screen. And what I love about Snorkel is this. When I log in, and can you share this tab instead? Hold on, I got to get over here. Okay, so when I log in, this is what I see. And it's these 3 boxes where the magic happens, and why I think teachers take to this tool, because these are just over here on the left-hand side, sample activities. You can try, kids can try. They're not part of your classroom environment. Here's where you can find an activity, and they've got great selection of activities here. I'm going to just click on it so you can see. So if I teach science and maybe I'm doing middle school life science, I can click in there and find some activities. We're not going to spend time there, but that's somewhere where you will want to spend some time. And here's where the power happens in this create an activity. And once I explain this to teachers, that all you need to understand is this create an activity, no one is overwhelmed, because when I get here, there are only 4 things I can do. And I don't like to say this in front of John, but I don't use whiteboard only or audio only. So basically, there really is only for me 2 things. And if I'm working with teachers, I'm going to show them those 2 things, and those are not overwhelming in a world where teachers are pressed for time. They're thinking all of these things. So I'm going to show you, actually, I'm going to go back to my library, and I'm going to go to my home so you can see how I get to it. Under these 3 magic boxes is where I have some classes. And these are the most recent classes that I've maybe used. And And here's where I have activities. Now I'm going to show you an activity in a moment, but I want you just to see the setup. It's pretty easy. So to create an activity, what you need to understand, actually, let me go to this little part that's so great. And it's try a sample activity. This is where I start when I want to use Snorkl with students. I just have them try out a sample activity. I'm really fond of the spoon or fork mac and cheese one. So I'm going to click on this and we're going to look at the environment. Sorry, I've done this a lot, so it's in there. So what we have is a whiteboard. And on that whiteboard, someone, I hope a teacher, has placed a question and an image. And I think the image is an important part that sometimes we forget. But here it is where it says, would you rather use a spoon or fork to eat macaroni and cheese? Give 2 reasons. And in this particular case, I'm going to record my thinking. I can also type the answer if I wanted to, but for this activity, I'm just going to show you recording thinking. So I go to the bottom, and I hope it doesn't stop sharing this, but I can say, hey, when I eat macaroni and cheese, I want to use a spoon because I want to shovel in all of the macaroni and cheese because I love it. So I end it, then I go to the bottom right-hand corner and I submit. And then Snorkl is going to listen to what I said. And if I had drawn, maybe I drew a circle around the spoon, it would look at what I did on the screen as well. And it's going to provide instant feedback. In this case, I purposefully did not give 2 reasons so that it would have, oh, it did not like my ideas at all. Give me a 0 out of 4. But it says, it looks like you started to share your thought, but didn't finish. Can you tell me which one you would choose? And maybe my microphone went out because it's being used by this program. You need to give 2 reasons why your choice is better for eating macaroni and cheese. Try starting over and give us your complete answer. And there's more there, but I don't have time to read it. So the thing that a kid will do is come up here to respond again. Now, I've worked with a lot of teachers using this program, and every single person tells me that kids will respond again. There are people who will say, like right now, I have a 0 out of 4. I'm not there yet. They will say, you've got to at least get a 3 out of 4. But you can do as many times as you need to get a 4 out of 4 if you want, but your requirement is a 3 out of 4. So you can set that up however you want, but I can respond again. I'm not going to. And then that is grabbing my thinking, my ideas around something, which can be important. This was just for fun, but this can be an important part of learning. In fact, we know that when you are good orally, it's then and only then that you can become a good reader and a good writer. There are some anomaly cases where that's not true, but for the most part, you've got to develop those oral skills. Also, if I'm asking a 1st grader or a 3rd grader a question, often they can't spend time typing. I also want to know what a kid learns. This is a good example to use one of these. Now, I want to stop and say, this is a good time to show you kind of a trick. I came in as a student in this response, and so I'm automatically in student mode. And so to get out of student mode and get back to being a teacher, I had to click on the purple line, and I probably should have said this before I clicked on it, the purple line at the top to get back as a teacher. Now, in a minute, I'm going to let John talk for a second because I think he's got some. John, do you think you should tell your example after I show like CERs and stuff?
Either way, I got it pulled up. So whenever, I can share right now.
Okay.
Because I think it speaks to what you were just saying about revision, which is true on the recorded responses, but it's also true on the writing responses that I know you're going to show here in just a second.
Okay.
So I will share my screen. And this was just sent to me the other day by a tech coach in a district out in California where they've been using Snorkl a lot. And they shared this. And so these are sort of fake student names that are covering up the real names. But anyways, this is a screenshot of the teacher's dashboard in this class after students had done a Snorkl activity. This one happens to be a writing activity. And you can see there's a lot of, you can't see much there, but you can see there's a lot of yellows there and a few reds. Basically, students weren't there yet. And then this is that same group of students after they had taken that feedback that they had just gotten, like Holly just showed on that recording activity, and then they used that feedback to revise multiple times. And if I zoom in here a little bit, maybe you can see a little bit, a little bit better. Like you can see 4 attempts, 5 attempts, 2 attempts, 4 attempts. Students are trying multiple times, and we think that this process of submitting and iterating is really powerful, and we're really trying to position AI in a way such that kids are getting the support, but it's not the AI doing the work for them. They're submitting their own authentic thinking and then using that feedback right away to improve. And so just as an overall snapshot of the class, like this is where the scores started off. 3 students at not yet, 22 students at fair, 2 students at strong. And after several attempts and iterations, those students had all moved into the strong or excellent categories of their work.
And this is the school district I was talking about, where they say, if you get a 3 out of 4, you're good, you can stop. And so that's probably why they have a bigger number, like 14 there, because that was told to them that they could get there and stop if they wanted.
And I know probably some of those students who got a 3 tried it again anyways and tried to get a 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. So great example use case here.
And is that
those are the slides I have. Yep.
So I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk about, I just showed where you're gathering one portion of Snorkl. So Snorkl has a written portion, which John showed you, and I showed you the thinking portion. And the 2 of us work with a school district in Prosper, Texas, where early on I did a webinar with them where they had gathered 85,000 minutes of student thinking in the first 7 weeks of school. We just went and looked right now. And for this school year, they have over 500,000 minutes of student thinking that they have gathered. That's beyond writing, because sometimes writing can be limited for students. It's a task. It's something that they feel like, okay, I'm done. Where thinking involves explaining why you think that, explaining the respiratory system, maybe even on a CER, which I'm focusing in on science there, but maybe even in a CER, it's a time when you explain afterwards, like, okay, you wrote your claim, evidence, and reasoning. Now, why do you think that? Can you also articulate that to me? So I'm going to go back and I'm going to show you a couple things. So I'm going to log back in. Sorry, I logged out. And I'm going to go to this humanities thing that we're going to do tomorrow, actually. And in this one that I have made, the kids are going to make a folktale. They're reading a book, and I forget the name.
Holly, we're just seeing your teacher home screen right now.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Do that anytime that happens. So they're going to be writing a folk tale, because this is a science fiction novel about this kid who travels 300 years in the future, and her job in her mind is to keep the memories of the past. And although they try and erase them to have a society that's more conformed and consistent in doing all the same things, she's trying to keep these anyway, not important. But how we are going to be doing that is I went to the writing activity and I created this assignment. So I'm going to try it as a student so you can see what I've done. So on one side, you can see that I have the prompt, which says you're going to write a paragraph that shares a memory, a family story. Then I give a structure. I think that it has the example here. And then I don't know what's happening right now, actually, because the sentence 1 introduces the memory. Oh, yeah. And it tells what happened. And this is the an example for them to use. And this is the prompt over on the side. They would come over here and maybe say, kindness is something we see in the shadows. And maybe this is going to be some folk tale that they make. Now, maybe they are stuck, and I always spell shadows wrong. I have done that since I was a kid, and I haven't gotten over that one. But maybe they're stuck and they don't know. They want to do kindness. And they can come over to the bottom right hand corner, and you'll see what looks sort of like AI, because it is AI. That's sort of the universal symbol of AI. Here's where the AI is going to help uplift the student. So here I can say, I don't know what else to say. And that's usually what a student is doing. They're sitting at their desk and they don't know what to say next. The AI is going to look at the requirements that the teacher has set, look at what the kid has written, and come up with something that might help get them unstuck. And this says, that's a very creative first sentence. It makes me want to know more. Thank you. The assignment asks for a memory, family story, a folktale. Do you have a story in mind that shows what you mean by kindness in the shadows? And it's kind of, and I'm going to say, no, can you help? And it's never going to write it for me. It might just give me, I'm not sure what it's going to do. It says, of course, I can help you think of ideas. Let's start with a memory. Can you think of a time someone did something kind for you and maybe no one else saw it? Ooh, that's a good one. So now I have this writing coach on the side, and I can come back and I can say, just like when someone is kind and you don't know they did it. Now I'm going to come over here to end, because I'm going to just, now I can still get the feedback on that Snorkl coach, but I'm going to submit it and see what it says for feedback, because maybe I feel like I need a little more feedback on the writing itself. So it's looking at the content that I put in as a teacher. I'm going to show you how I did that in a second. And now it's coming over here and saying, I'm not there yet, which I'm not. But it says you have good idea about kindness. Your response is missing the required structure. Can you rewrite the starting one time, or my family always says, something like that. And then to meet the assignment requirements, you need to share a real memory, family story. So it's helping me. Now I can come back and go to respond again up at the top right-hand corner. And when I do that, I can start from blank. Maybe I got a whole nother idea. I don't want to do kindness. I want to do the moonlight and how it protects us. I could start with blank, or I can come back to my previous and I can just add. And it's going to remember what I did. It's going to help me, like it, obviously it's still there, but this is where I can go in and out of getting that instant feedback. I want to show you another one. I just wanted to show you that because we're doing it tomorrow.
Holly, can I add one quick thing here?
Yeah.
One of the things that students can do on this screen is they can click that little circular sort of clock-like thing on the top.
Yep.
Yep. And they can see that
Yes.
feedback side by side with their work. And we find that's really powerful to help with that revision process. Snorkl Coach, that tool you were using off to the right-hand side, also has knowledge of what was in that feedback. And so you could talk to Snorkl Coach now about some of the feedback that you just got as well. And it might help you sort of expand from there. So just two little tidbits I wanted to add.
Thank you, because I'm going to be showing this to kids tomorrow, and I forgot about that time thing. So I want to say that I've been having conversations with teachers who are like, I think we just need to go back to blue books. And I think kids are using AI. There's a couple of things about this. Now, I do think that kids are using AI because, number one, they're stuck and they don't know how to get help. So they just open up a tab and maybe ask ChatGPT. But this allows for kids to be keep leveling up, keep getting the help they need when they need it. So they may have less desire to take the easy way out. I do think some of the reason kids take the easy way out too is because they're not interested in that assignment. But we happen to be reading a book that talks all about these memories. So I think they're going to be going back as the story talks about memories and we unpack it. We'll come back and say, now think about how you can make your folktale better, things like that. So it's a combo of thinking about pedagogy first, what the assignment is, and making sure you're uplifting students and then giving them that instant feedback to help as well. So again, I'm in student mode because I tried this as a student. So I have to click on this purple bar at the top to get me out. And I'm going to take you into a science one now. And so I've become rather fond of science notebooks, interactive notebooks. I did them myself as a social studies teacher. So I've been working with a person on adding AI to these notebooks. And here's where we did something. In the seal jar activity, and we're going to try this as a student, one thing that the NGSS standards talk about is this like that you need to have, and I forget what the name because I'm not a science teacher, but it's anchor statements basically. And this one's going to be the anchor statement is all around what is in this jar. And so normally in the science fair notebook, they have this thing where they put, I notice, I wonder, and here's what I'm seeing at first. And honestly, when I did this the first time, I probably should have done this in the writing one, but I did it in this one I just wanted to hear their first responses. So I did it in the whiteboard one. So remember, I only used two. This is the top one whiteboard, and the one you just saw a minute ago was the writing one. So a teacher, or I'm sorry, a kid records, here's what I see. Well, I see rocks, I see minerals, I see bubbles. I think I see a spider, but I'm not sure. Things like that. And they record and they start to think out loud about the things they're seeing instead of always writing it. I'm going to go back and show you some of the responses so you can see what this looks like, what the teacher would see, and what I get to see the students know. So first of all, I can see and look at this in thumbnails and see who's getting it, who's got it incorrect, who's not. And I did this with teachers. They were playing, I mean, they probably weren't giving it their all, but I can see an overview like that. I also can click on insights and I can see who has strong understanding here of what's inside of this. And then I have these top exemplars, and I can maybe bring these up and put them up on the screen and say, well, here's an example. And this is the one that Snorkl has said is the top exemplar. And I could play what this kid said.
I see a jar with gray pebbles, brown sand, and black rocks, a little bit of dirt above it.
So you get the point of that, but I can see all of these kids and what's missing. And this might be an opportunity for me to do my next teacher moves. Another important thing that I really like about this is that, is it settings? Hold on, let me come back. And then if I don't get it, I'll ask here. Under these settings, I can anonymize or take the student names off so that if I want to show a couple to talk about them, I don't have to have the student names attached with that. And that's really strong. And I can, do my best try. I can do all kinds of things to see those responses. But I'm going to go into a CER now. And here is the CER. And I thought this one is one of the, I'll have to go find it. But this CER, let me head back over here. Give me a second. I'm going to go in as a student, which I could have done from where I was. I want you to see what this looks like. So I have gone to the writing one, and I'll go back and show you this again. And here I put a CER prompt, inner versus outer planets. And the planets in our solar system are often grouped in two categories, yada, yada. Write a CR response that answers the question, how are the inner planets different from the outer planets? Here's the claim, write one sentence evidence. And then I'm also able to add a visual so that kids have something to think and look at while they're writing. I am going to get out of the student mode right now, and I'm going to show you two things. First, to make that CER activity, I went to create an activity, and I went down to the writing. Here in this box is where I put CER things. I'm just going to put that there now. Here is where I added the source. So I'm going to drop in an image here, and this is not an image of something I would do with CER. I just want you to see. Oops, that didn't work. Hold on. Give me a sec. So I'm going to upload the image. Sorry, that was my bad. And I quickly upload this image. And John, if you have if you can right now, if you can pull up those math examples of the kids in their those questions, those 5-step processes that are being asked in math these days, if you have can show that, I would love it. And let's see if I'm on the right thing. So I did a writing. I'm going to want to name it, yada, yada. But I put in my prompt, not really here. I didn't put much in, but I better. So let me put in, what is the difference between the inner and outer planets? Because that is what AI is going to use to generate the feedback. So AI is going to, I'm going to tell it science in middle school. AI is going to look at my prompt. I probably should have put in CER with it. I didn't. And it's going to look at the image, and then it's going to kind of come back with what it thinks I'm looking for. I didn't put in the CER, so it's not going to know that, which I'm sorry, I should have done that. But then it says, here's the prompt. What's the difference between the inner and outer planets? Oops, I put out planets. Correctly identify where inner planets and outer planets are located in relation to the sun. Describe the composition difference. So it's putting in stuff it thinks I want to hear. If I don't like that, I can just edit and take out, maybe I take out, use accurate scientific vocabulary. I wouldn't do that. I think that's important. But then I confirm. I'm going to want to give it a, I'm going to call it play activity, so I know to go and delete it, because I have a problem with all these activities. But so I gave it a name. It's writing. It has a source, which is a visual. It has generated what kind of feedback I want. And then I go to assign, and I put it in one of my classes. And when I get here, you're going to get today a code to have an updated, or an upgraded, actually, sorry, not updated, upgraded experience inside of Snorkl till the end of the school year here in the US. And I can turn on, because I have this upgraded experience, I can turn on that Snorkl coach that you saw. So now I assign it, and I can put it in Google Classroom. I can copy a link and put in Canvas. I can just share that way. I have been sharing lately just like this. And let me go back to my library. When I come back here to my classes, it's in my science thing now, and it's called display activity. But when I open it, I can go and share, and I can put this on the screen, and they can just get in this way. And I have to do that because I'm usually training at a school, and we don't have an LMS together. I can't share on Classroom or whatever. So this I do a lot, and it really is quite easy. If I had kids with iPads, I could just do this. So you have that way to share. But I want to just show you one other thing. When I come to these ecological relationships, and let me come back to my classes because I want to show you what it looks like. This is why I put play activity now. It's getting all messy with these. But here's a CER on planets. And you can see that there are, on some of these people, they have 2 out of 2. So let me open this one. As a teacher, I'm looking at the final response, the main one, because that's probably what she finished with. This was just a teacher doing it in a thing. It wasn't actually a student. But if I want to see where she began, I can go to response 1, and I can go between the 2 to see what the difference was. I could also maybe have them comment in another Snorkl where I capture their thinking. How did you get from response 1 to response 2? That might be something I want to try in the future. But if I scroll down, you're going to see in a minute, somebody has pasted. This is 90% pasted. So they started with inner planets are smaller and outer planets are bigger, but it catches when a kid just copies and pastes. And so that's a really good way of kind of probably indicating that it's done by AI. One of my strategic things that I do is I don't tell kids I have this ability. I never tell them. If they're going to get in I don't want to say trouble, but if I'm going to have a talking to them about, hey, I think yours is AI, I'm still not going to give up the goods that I have this way of being able to see that. Okay, so quickly back here so that this is enough for you to get started. I'm just coming to create an activity as a teacher. And I'm either choosing the whiteboarding activity, which is what you saw with the sealed jar, or I'm coming to writing, which is what you saw with folk tales and CER. And the writing activity allows for that side position to have your prompt. If I'm doing whiteboarding activity, the prompt is on that whiteboard as well as the visual. And the kid can either write or do an audio recording. That's what that indicates there. But in the writing one, they only have the option of writing. So as John spoke about, the difference when they have that instant feedback is they go from not getting it in that one side of the table to getting it in the next side of the table. In this example of CERs, when I was at this school, they said that they used to take the CER and write it in their science notebook, but the kids were writing so much that they didn't think it was worth the time to also have them kind of put it in the science notebook because they had never gotten that amount of writing before. And I think that is a win. So I think this is a win for the thinking that you can gather, and it's a win for the writing that you can help kids go further on their own without wanting to cheat. John, I'm going to come back and I'm going to show one more thing, but do you have the math examples?
I'm trying to think of what specific math example you're looking for. I have a bunch of math examples.
A Google Doc with all those, and I'm not a math teacher, so it's that new testing they do where they're like, solve this, and then there's like a thing, and then they have to, like, they do step 1, step 2, and by step 5, they're like doing things that are super hard.
I'm not sure which Google Doc that is, but definitely can share a little bit of how teachers are using it in math class, if that's helpful.
Please, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was a high school math teacher, and so for me, like, I really want to give my students make math class not just about the answer, but about that thinking process for students. And so I'll share my screen here, but I just pulled up a couple of little examples. I think one of the things that's really powerful, and let me actually switch to this class, is one, like, if students get the right answer. So this question here, the correct answer is 44. And you'll see the student got this correct, but they still got a 1 out of 4 for their explanation. And it allows us to shift the conversation about math class, not just being about the right answer, but about that thinking process and getting students using their academic vocabulary and language and everything else. The other thing that I was trying to think of what you were alluding to earlier.
It's SBAC.
It's what?
SBAC.
Oh, the SBAC. Oh yeah, we got some sample SBAC questions here. Can share those too. I also shared this image, which if you're a math teacher, might have resonate with you, which is there's this book, Building Thinking Classrooms, is very popular, especially in math crowds right now, where you have students do work on whiteboards around the room, and spend a lot of class time doing group work and whiteboards around the room. And I think it's a really powerful model. I was actually doing that in my own classroom when I was teaching back in 2022. But one of the things that I think is always a challenge there is students are doing their group work. Of course, you want them to also be individually accountable for their thinking. And so teachers are actually using Snorkl with the Building Thinking Classrooms model. And this is a picture of that, where you can see the teacher has pre-put in the last question that the students were going to do in their group work onto a Snorkl activity. Students, when they're done with that group work on their whiteboard, are actually taking a picture of their whiteboard. And so that's what you see there. And then they're recording a response and an explanation of the problem that they just did as a group. And all of a sudden, they are now individually accountable for being able to share and explain what they're working through with their group. They're going to get immediate feedback on it. And then again, they can use that feedback to try again and improve their explanation. So getting used in a lot of different sorts of ways in different classroom setups too.
And can you, I have a SBAC open if you want me to share it, but if you
Great.
have.
I don't have one open, so if you want to share it.
So I'm going to be talking outside of my comfort zone when I show this, but let me get it up just so, because hold on. Okay, I have to add it to my library. Give me a second. And I'm going to try as a student. And now I'm going to share this tab. So I have just uploaded one of the SBAC questions for 3rd grade. And quite frankly, I couldn't believe that 3rd graders are doing this right now. But this gives you the prompt. And oh, this one wasn't a good one because they usually have like a 5-step process that the kids have to go through. And where I had the inner and outer planets, there are graphs that people put in. There are things that go through this 5-step process. Let me see if I can quickly get a better one. And it looks like I might be in, yeah, I don't know. Let me see if this one's better, and then I'll share it if it is. And let me just share this tab so you can see what I'm going through. No, this one actually just has the steps on here, but these are the kind of SBAC questions that kids have. And now they can do some of that in Snorkl, and they can do it by both solving the problem on the screen as well as talking through how they figured out that answer.
Yeah, I think one of the bigger themes here that I like to emphasize is, you can use Snorkl with any curriculum, with any content you want. And so if you're doing some state test prep or ACT prep or AP to prep or whatever it is, you can take your own items directly from your practice exam and put them into Snorkl, set it up so that you can use it with your students. And that flexibility to really tightly align with curriculum, I think it makes it really powerful. Nancy, I see you in the chat there. Thanks for joining us here. You created a diploma and provincial achievement tests in your school library. That's awesome. Love that.
I want to just say a couple last things. I want to show you a couple last things really quickly about why it is this instant feedback is so important. I've done this in other Snorkl webinars, but I just want to end with like why. Like there's all kinds of curriculum in the find an activity section. And I like to tell teachers, let that serve as an idea of what you can do. And don't just think that that's like teacher pay teacher, and if they don't have it, you can't do it. It's just a place to get ideas. And give me one sec. Sorry, I'm going to take this off for a second, come back over and show you. Okay, here we go. Sorry. And share this tab. Hopefully you can see this. So we know that Snorkl is instant feedback on authentic student thinking. The teacher simply just assigns the prompt on the whiteboard or in the writing part. The students record their thinking or their writing and explanations, and AI provides that immediate feedback. Here's an example we didn't talk about. This is a kid who's getting...
Holly, do you want us to be seeing something? Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we're not seeing anything.
My bad.
There it is. Great.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to go back over to where it is and then talk. And hopefully I'm on the same one. But we're on the Mandarin kid, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so this kid, I'm going to stop it really quickly. He gets a question on a whiteboard in English, but he begins speaking, and you can correct me, John, if I'm wrong on any of this, but he begins speaking in Mandarin. And Snorkl knows he's speaking in Mandarin and gives him his feedback in Mandarin. But what becomes really important as this kid talks, the teacher is going to come down to where you have the international symbol for translation right down here. I'm kind of circling it. And they're going to be able to see in English what he's saying. So I'm going to let it play first.
The audio is not coming through here, Holly.
Thanks.
I have the actual example pulled up though, so I can share it on my screen if that's okay.
Okay. We might not have turned on audio sharing. Try it.
Okay. Oh, I also have my subtitles set to Danish, so that's not going to be very helpful. Let me change my language back to English.
Oh, good. We're getting to see how you do it so quickly.
There's lots of... So Snorkl supports over 65 different languages. Okay, let's see here. Let me refresh, and then tell me if you can hear this.
Yeah.
You can?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great.
我可以先看 A。 这个东西我们可以把它看成乘法分配率。第一个我们可以让
So he's explaining his thinking here in Mandarin Chinese. I don't speak any Mandarin, but with the click of the button here as a teacher, I can instantly have those subtitles translated to English, and we can follow along.
6乘以 x， 然后再用6乘以4。现在6乘以 x 等于 6x。
So now the teacher
然后
sees
这里有个减，这里有个减的符号，所以再来个减。
Yeah. Teacher sees that in English. The feedback the student receives here is in Mandarin. And this piece, Holly, is because the AI is automatically detecting any language that students recorded in, but the feedback is going to default to English unless they've come up here and changed their language settings to that preferred language. But then teachers can instantly toggle that back to English so that they can also understand the feedback their students are getting.
Okay, I'm going to end by saying why it's so important. Hold on, hopefully I will get to the right screen. You're going to see something at first. It's not what I mean to share. And then here we go. Hopefully you see this.
Okay, this is my question, and I'll.
Do you not hear that too, John?
No, I do hear that one. Yeah.
Okay. So this one is like a lot of people are going after technology and saying that we need to go back to worksheets and whatever in classrooms. And maybe that's what they think. I have some thoughts about it. But here is a worksheet where this kid is going to answer some questions about verbs. And instead of it just being something he answers and gets back 2 days later, he's going to answer it here on Snorkl and then get the instant feedback he needs to see that if he's going in the right direction. I'm going to play this for 2 seconds. That's it. And then I'm going to talk to you about the feedback.
I'll answer it for you simply. What is a verb? Now, a verb is like, like you wouldn't sit, like, it's hard to explain.
Isn't it though? Isn't it? So he goes on and he's like, it's like running, and he explains it and he gets the next question right, but he gets question 3 wrong. And it comes back and tells him, hey, you're kind of off on question 3. Can you try again? Because he got 3 out of 4. And so you're taking the scenario of those skills that you're trying to build on a worksheet, but you're adding the thinking in. And I think that's really important. Not meant to be all the time. And we've talked about math, so I'm going to skip over that example. But it's meant to be as a yes and. Yes, and let me hear the thinking about this worksheet. So here's why we do that. We know that cognitive science shows that students retain information better when they receive the feedback while their working memory is still engaged. That's just a fact. And now in 2026, we have an opportunity to cut the feedback loop to almost 0 in most cases. And we were kids who didn't learn that way. We never taught that way. Like we weren't taught that way. We didn't teach that way. And so we often think that kids need to do a worksheet when honestly they could get the feedback sooner, and they could still do the rest of the worksheet if that's what you want. If you want a balance, which I believe in, I think there should be both. We also know that instant feedback prevents mistakes from becoming permanent, and research writing shows delayed feedback allows misconceptions to solidify. We also know that when students get quick feedback, they stay engaged, they feel more supported. And here's what's really important. They're less likely to give up. And that's where the cheating happens. When they're like, I don't know what to do next. It's so easy to go to an AI and just get that answer. We want to support them so that they won't need to do that. And then finally, studies show that students in classrooms where teachers provide immediate feedback consistently perform better on standardized tests. And we all still have to worry about those at this moment. So that's an important thing to remember. So this, to end, I want you to take out your phone and scan this QR code. And it's going to, you first have to sign into Snorkl using your Gmail or Microsoft account, whatever. And once you sign in and you sign up as a teacher, then you scan this code and it's going to give you the updated version, not updated. Why do I keep saying this? Because I'm tired and I've been in a school all day with kids, but upgraded, yeah, version for you to have. And then you will, you can also share this with teachers at your school. So you have until July 31st to maybe have a pilot group who tries this. maybe with a CER or a writing assignment, and see what you think. I'm obsessed with it, as we already know. It says, John and Holly, is there a way to share that example with me? I'm giving a Snorkl presentation on Friday. Which one?
Yeah, Nancy, we can follow up and share. I think that came in after that Mandarin example, but we can also share the other one too.
Anyway, it's been 45 minutes. I have tried every single time to make these things 30 minutes and I can't seem to do it. I think that's a flaw of me. Any questions before we leave? Because you do have the co-founder on right now. And they're time delayed, so it could take a second.
Sure.
But if not, just keep a picture of that code, scan it later somehow, and you now have a upgraded account. And would like to say thank you to our friend from the Bahamas. You come every time. We love having you to all of these. And we have a question. And while we're waiting for the question, it says, John, just an FYI, shared Snorkl with 4 largest school district boards and 8 in Alberta yesterday. So that's awesome.
Awesome to hear. Yeah. Thanks, Nancy.
And she wants the Mandarin. And I think that question is being typed, I'm assuming.
Yeah. And if there's other questions that we don't get to answer, feel free to reach out to the Snorkl team. You can find me at john@snorkl.app anytime. I'm happy to help support as well.
And I just shared Snorkl with some school boards in Ontario.
All right.
This is like my go-to now. Anyone who's been with me for a while knows that I loved Flipgrid. Now I love Snorkl. My school uses the Writing Revolution. So does mine. So, and can Snorkl provide students with the kind of feedback for that program? So, is it okay if I answer since this is?
Sure, yeah.
So the Writing Revolution is meant for first done for dyslexic kids. So I want to give a shout out for the school, but it has these specific SPOs, and the SPOs say that you have to have a topic sentence that has a positives around it in some cases when you get to about 4th grade. And then it asks for certain things in the main body. And so I have not tried it yet. We are going to be trying it to see if it can understand exactly how that, because it asks for evidence in the form of a quote a certain way. It asks for topic sentence a certain way. So I'm going to be working through that, and I will share that somehow with you. And I'll also share it like on LinkedIn once we get it working, and in my newsletter as well. John, have you heard of anyone using the Writing Revolution who's using it with their SPOs?
I'm not familiar with the Writing Revolution, but excited to learn more. We definitely give teachers quite a bit of control over how the AI gives feedback, and so you can set specific criteria. And it sounds like there may be an opportunity there to really closely align with those goals.
I think so. So I'll share that. And she says the feedback I give, for example, combine these 2 sentences using in a positive. Yeah, I will do that. I mean, I haven't done it, but I just think for sure it will. So I'm really excited to try it. And I'm glad you're using the Writing Revolution. It's a good one. Although my kids do get a little by the end of the year like, oh, SPOs, but it's okay. Anyway, thank you all. And I hope that this was enough to get you started. Just remember, you go to create an activity. There's only 4 things. Of those 4, I only use 2. So you can't go wrong with trying an activity. And for the lab Pink Dragon, I am using, we're not here for School AI, but I am using School AI to check those topic sentences with the kids, and that's working well. But I really want it to happen while they're writing in Snorkl, so I got to move that over. Okay, thanks everyone, and have a wonderful Tuesday. And thank you for coming. And I know a lot of more people will watch as we post this. So thank you all.
Thanks, Holly. Thanks, everyone.